asking for questions, and you're only a low level. I rolled a natural 1 with a -1 charisma. So I got a net result of 0 against it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to die here. Next person got a natural 20, which kind of balanced it out a bit. But I've had other games where my Friday night game, I was trying to come up with a legal case why we shouldn't be arrested, and it's got a natural 1, and we got arrested for quite a while. I just don't do well in diplomacy type of things.
I've just started watching a series called Paradise, and it's
the second season's just started, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I've seen the first season. I haven't seen the second season yet.
Yeah, no spoilers. I'm at the point where it just shows the whole evac situation.
Yeah,
which is really well done.
Well, I think today the first 3 episodes of season 2 came out. I haven't seen them yet, but it's on Disney. I think you can see it on.
Yeah.
Disney. All right, are we ready?
We are good. We are live now.
Oh.
I will put your voice on. There you go.
My voice does not need to be on. Okay. Last session, a couple of weeks ago. Last session, we kind of wrapped up your meeting with the drawing and then your return to normality after the destruction of Califaction through Perihelion, during its Perihelion, and obviously the loss of your friend Sorrel. You were guests of the great leader of leaders, Yusote, a drawing, who rescued you from the planet and was able to somehow ensure that the Gala was made available for you to continue using it. The journey back, you then travelled from memory. Go back to here for a minute. From Caledonia, you ended up in Vice, where you discovered, if I remember rightly, you ended up at Glisten, where you discovered that there was an invitation for you to meet with an individual on the planet, in the starport of Vice. The individual by name was, if I remember rightly, Willem Ratham. A rather shady, according to the image, looking businessman. You had dinner with him, met him, learned a little bit about him. Yeah, he was generally a import-export specialist, but also seemed to have a liking for for ancient artifacts. And he had been asked to present to you I remember now. It's all coming back to me. He'd been asked to present to you an invitation to join the Captain of Knowledge on an ancients at an ancients conference, which would be held upon a large ship known as the Glisten Pearl. Your rendezvous with the ship would take place at a system called Aki. Well, Aki, however you want to pronounce it. You somehow managed to convince Willem to join you. If I remember rightly. Let's sit down for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
He wants to documentary type thing on us, didn't he?
That is correct. Yes.
He's our +1.
He is your +1. And he is definitely going to do a documentary on you all. I'm going to take some notes because I have a feeling I'm going to need to make some notes tonight.
Yeah, I made...
Do things that I don't know you're going to do.
Yeah, I remember making notes about the Glisten Pearl and everything last week, and they vanished.
Aha. Aha. Where did you make them?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because they're not with all the other notes that I've got for this game, so I must have two collections somewhere, because I couldn't find any last week that I remember making.
On your journey out towards Vice, you were instructed by a gazelle, a close escort ship, a member of the 100th Fleet, to kind of heave to and allow... by the way, heaving to reminds me, Windrose, really worth looking at. It's going to be one of those kind of very quiet sort of sleeper hits, I think.
Is it like Sea of that you were supposed to be?
No, it's sorry everybody who's watching, we are digressing. It is the nearest I can. There are some bits of it that remind me of Valheim. Effectively, it's a pirate-based survival game with a story. It's great. I'm enjoying it actually. Anyway, I digress. It's worth looking at if you're into pirates and you like survival games. What was I going to say? The Steam Next Fest is on now, by the way.
Oh, God.
So, that's heaving too. That's where that came from. Right. So you were boarded by an officer from the Imperial Navy. He recognised some of you, saluted to some of you based on your rank, was very apologetic, effectively just doing their job. But they did come in very well armed. And they kind of went round your ship, Sub-Lieutenant Ikea Zika, several armed crew members, and a technical advisor. They went round your ship investigating the cargo that you were carrying, as well as your passenger manifest. After that had taken place, uneventfully, I hasten to add, you continued on your way to Akai, where you docked the Ghana into the high port. And whilst you were there, randomly, Disk appeared and invited some of you, not all of you, but some of you, to dinner. And his approach to food was very strange, if you remember rightly. He was ordering multiple dishes of each course, mixing them together, and creating maybe a not so delightful bouquet of taste and flavour as he asked you a bunch of questions, but ultimately he got to a point where he asked you for a favour. And that favour was for you to find he wants you to find
number of items to basically explain humanity or something, but I can't remember the number.
Six objects.
That define imperial culture or encapsulate the human psyche. He has no idea what those objects are. He believes that you will when you find them. And he also didn't really talk about a reward. When you asked about a reward, he would have just simply told you that that would be the business of his leader when the time comes. After which, I think we kind of left it around there with the Glisten Pearl arriving in the system. And due to its size, it is unable to dock with with the high port, and therefore sends a sorry, not a cruiser. Doesn't have a cruiser.
Shuttle, you said.
A shuttle to collect you. A launch, yes. A ship's launch to collect you. I think that's kind of probably where we left it, roughly speaking. So, plans. What are you going to do?
Do we know exactly what to expect on this liner? So we know what type of things to take with us.
All you know is it is a conference, and the conference is to do with the ancients. You're a little bit surprised that you've been invited, by the way. You're not quite sure why. Although you are flying in the Garnet, which is a ship that is very heavily steeped in ancient mythology, so that might explain why. So in terms of trouble, you're probably not expecting trouble. So taking armor and heavy weapons is probably not a great thing to do. Taking a sidearm, probably okay.
Oh, that reminds me. I was looking at cloth armor for tours, but
You were, that's right. Yes. People were thinking about buying stuff while they were in the high port. Yes.
Yeah, I've got cloth armor there. Yeah, I don't think we can get decent stuff, the lightweight stuff.
You're on a tech level 9. The high port at Aki is tech level 9. So you can buy anything that's not restricted up to tech level 9.
Yeah, I think the next one is 10. Yeah. It's 7 or 10. The only, can't get the 10 one. That's the one I want to get next time.
Okay. You'll have to wait till you find a tech level 10 system.
Yeah.
You can stop off at and purchase your armor. Okay. To be honest, the crew of the launch and the steward, you are the steward of the launch, Agushi Gao, Uguishegao, identifies herself as the chief steward of the Glisten Pearl, and she has come down to collect you. She will explain to you that sidearms are permitted. She herself is wearing a sidearm. You can take sidearms with you, but she does say that it's unlikely that you would need them on board the ship. Armor, though, is something that she is definitely not happy for you to try and take.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at the cloth stuff. You can get it looking like clothing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you can buy the tech level 7 cloth armor if you've already got it. That's fine. But you can buy that.
No, I'll get some of that, definitely.
I bought it last week.
Okay, cool.
So that's
How much was it?
250 credits, and it's 7 kilos in weight. That's why the upgraded stuff is only 3 kilos in weight.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that I want.
Give me a second. Tech level 7, right?
So I just added cloth armor and put all the details in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's protection 5, 7 kilos. Tech level 7.
Protection 5. Weight
Just going to build it
7.
really quickly.
I've got one that I built already. If you just want to finish that.
Oh, okay.
250 requires.
Not taking my rifle with me, so store that.
Oops. Wait, what is? Yay!
Yeah, we'll secure the garnet, just in case this is a distraction. Of course, wants to try and nick the garnet.
Yep.
Well,
You can secure the guy, that's not a problem. Depends on how long you're away for, you'll just accrue fees for your birthing fees, but other than that, it's not going to be. I think you pay per week, I think, for the birthing fees. So it's not a huge amount of money.
good enough.
Okay. So you take the general thing, you know, the basics that you need: clothing, your best clothing, change of clothing, toiletries.
That case that I had with the stone and the pistol in it,
Yes.
I'm going to take that and I'm going to put my clothing inside if it'll fit. In my smalls and whatnot.
It's what's it called?
It was shielded, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
you couldn't tell what was in it.
Yes.
I'll take my
I'm gonna
heavy
take
laser
the-
pistol.
Yeah, I've got my cloth armor, also a pistol. I'm taking my electronic binoculars just in case sightseeing.
I've got a medkit
Um,
and a comm device.
Yeah, read the mask. Never go anywhere without that, just in case. And I'll take that jewel that I found.
Okay. Perfect. I need to create that case for you, but just for reference, it's right at the beginning of the book, isn't it? It is a Carter case. I don't actually says how much it stores. It's only 1 kilogram, so it isn't a huge amount of.
So it's more of a gun case than.
Yeah, it's like a briefcase.
But it's big enough to fit my smalls in it, though, isn't it?
You could probably get your smalls in, yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of think if we need to get something out of here undetected, it's a handy thing to have.
Okay.
Are you leaving the gun in it as well, though? Or
No, I'm wearing the gun.
Right.
It's small arms, so.
Is anybody going to try and do anything with the ring that you found on Sorrel? If you remember, you found a ring mounted on a fairly cheap housing. Was a gem, a much smaller gem, but still very similar to the gems that you had already found.
Yeah,
Yes,
but it didn't
I'll
react
be.
to me, that one, though, did it?
Didn't
No,
react to you in the same way that the
No.
others did. No.
Yeah.
I'll be taking one of the stones with me as well and putting it on the inside of my clothing, close to my
Okay.
skin.
I've got that in my pocket. The one I found. But yeah, you might as well. I think Medi got the
I'll take the ring then.
ring.
If it'll fit my pinky.
Okay.
Through your nose.
Yeah.
You
Prince Albert.
probably so the card case isn't in this book. It must be in the thingy catalogue. Okay, so the ring. Let me see if I can give you a bit of info about the ring. It's a very strange ring. It's like a very strange ring.
It's all I've got to remember Sorrel by. Well, that and a blaster scar.
Yes. Okay. Doesn't explain. Okay, so do me a favor. How many journeys how many weeks of travel did you have? Was it you've had 2, haven't you, or is it 3? You got dropped off at Glisten, you picked up your ship, you went to Vice, which is 2 jumps, then you went to Aki, which is 1 jump, so you've had 3 weeks. Okay. Give me Mr. Brent. I'm going to need.
Yeah, we've got enough. Oh, I've got enough to get a new skill, but I hadn't decided what.
Yeah.
I
Give
forgot
me
about that.
a science roll, please. You can do 3 rolls. And just so you know, it is going to be. I need at least a pass against. 1 second. Skill checks. Against a difficult roll, please.
Nice.
Maybe I should have made it very difficult. Okay. Well, by the end of the first week of your journeying from Glisten to Vice, you figure out what the ring is. It's a very odd device. It is known, or you kind of, well, you don't know what it's called, but so you kind of settle on a name. And the name that you settle on is something like Container of One. You can store a single object up to 4 kilograms in weight in the ring, and then using just your mind, you can summon the item to your hand.
You've got a bag of holding and a ring.
Yes, basically. You're muted.
You muted.
So how do I get in the ring? It's like a lube.
And if you remember, Sorrel 1 minute didn't have a gun in her hand, the next minute did have a gun in her hand.
She did. Oh, it'll fit a shotgun really nicely, won't it?
Is the shotgun 4 kilos?
kilograms, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, exactly 4 kilos.
Then it will fit a shotgun.
Yeah, my advanced combat rifle's only 3 kilos.
Then it will fit any of those into it. You do not know where it goes when you put it in there. And just
we need to get more of these.
Just so you know, there is no price associated with this.
Yeah.
It's priceless.
So you can't get any more.
It is priceless. Yes. Oh no, it's not that you can't get any more. Just this particular one has no price associated with it.
Yeah, right.
Do we recognise the stone? Does it match anything of any of our other stones?
It is.
No.
It is similar, but not the same as.
Okay. Well,
Then
I'm
render
going
to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get a good mental picture of what the stone is or what I think it looks like, in case I come across any more of these stones.
Okay.
That's a
There you go.
point.
You have a container. Oh, I've got to give you it twice by accident. You have a container of 1 in use on your character sheet, Brent.
Fantastic. I'm now wearing that container of 1.
It does. It does look a little odd, and so it may attract attention if you're not careful.
Well, what I'll tend to do is I will wear the stone on the inside. So I'll twirl it round so the stone's up to be against my palm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a band showing.
And you've got your shotty in there, have you?
I have, yeah. So it's not a ring like with a huge attached shotgun.
Yeah. That's worth remembering. Okay. So Yuguishi welcomes you on board the launch. As she does so, she kind of, she checks your harnesses and things and sort of says, the journey out to the Glisten will be an hour. We'll be taking a leisurely route out there. Welcome on board.
Thank you.
She kind of, and after a few minutes, you'll feel the ship vibrate and then kind of take off. Can I get you anything to drink, to eat, refreshments?
I wouldn't know what type of things to request in this situation. Not used to this type of situation. It's like,
I've just realised, Mehdi, you should have said we're in the wrong voice channel, aren't we? You're muted again.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't get the cameras.
Yeah. Wrong channel. Sorry about that. Should have said.
I didn't assist.
Yeah, so brings anything that you want, pretty much within reason. Champagne, spirits, beer, wine, any, canapes, etc. Basically tries to make your journey for the next hour as comfortable as possible. The woman herself, she's human, she's female. She's in her late 20s. She also seems to sport a pistol of some kind on her hip. Looks to be most likely a Gauss pistol of some kind.
I suppose gas pistols is sensible because it's perfect for 0G.
Perfect for 0G, yes, absolutely. Okay, well, if you're just going to kind of sit back and make yourself comfortable, the journey is just shy of an hour. Gradually, as the launch kind of comes up alongside the Glisten, you get to see her through the starboard port windows, whichever, doesn't really matter, of the launch, and you get to see this ship in all of its glory. It is a 600-ton standard hull, so not really streamlined, which makes it not really suitable for going into planetary atmosphere. It is a liner, a Type M liner, approximately 600 tons of entertainment. And the launch kind of comes into the where is docking space area 1? We have so I'm just coming to here for a second. So comes into docking space, which is here. So area 1, it basically comes into the back of the raised tail area of the ship, kind of glides in back. Yeah, I would say it's the back. Yeah, the back. And then kind of sets down, and then she kind of waits for a little bit and says, give us a few moments while we pressurize the docking bay, and then we can proceed down to your staterooms. Everything is in order.
Yeah.
We have prepared. We have your rooms ready for you. You are the last of the conference guests, so welcome on board. The Captain of Knowledge has put a welcome reception in place for 7 p.m. standard time.
What time is it now?
It's about 3 p.m. standard time.
Okay.
Carver kind of goes, if it's all the same, I'm going to stay in my room. And Ozzy grunts.
Wow, he's got weapons, that shit.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because it's got 2 gunners.
Yeah, it has triple pop-up turrets, pulse lasers, sandcasters ×6.
Nice.
Designed to be able to protect itself, worst case scenario.
Damn space pirates.
If you look on deck 3, I imagine that's where your pop-up turrets are. Just those holes there.
I was going to say you can see them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're taken down to staterooms, area 9. So these are the main staterooms here. Actually, you're given high staterooms. So you've probably got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so you've probably got, where's my pencil? Can I draw freestyle here? Freestyle. You have probably got that section. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, hang on. You will have...
There's 6 of us with the other guy, but...
You'll have that section there. Now, wasn't expecting...
the +1, so he's in the cargo hold.
No. So when you all join the launch... Yeah, sorry, I forgot about him. I keep forgetting about him. She kind of goes through a checklist. And she kind of says, Carver, yes. Ozzy, yes. And kind of gets through all of you, and then gets to Willem. I should think Willem Dafoe, shouldn't I? Gets to Willem, and she sort of said, "Well, I wasn't expecting. We don't have a Willem Refn on the cover list. 1 second, though. I presume he's with you."
Correct.
1 second, and she kind of scrolls to a different screen. She says, yes. I can place him, and she kind of will give him this lower standard stateroom here. He kind of looks at you and just, yeah, that would be absolutely fine. That would be acceptable. Thank you, he says with a smile at the steward. Okay, so you're taken down 8L.
Apologies, I just messed with your cameras, Maddie.
I was just thinking he spent ages for sorting those out, so you messed them up.
It's okay, I can sort it. It's my lot in life.
Just trying to look at where you will come down. going to guess you will come down here. You'll come down here, down the airlock to here, and then she'll bring you round the back. So you'll come down here, brings you here, and then to there to take you to your staterooms. And she does so. She kind of brings you through, kind of gives you a little bit of a tour of the back of the ship. She sort of says, "Well, this area here, as you can see, is our fairly well-equipped med bay. Should anything happen to you, during your journey, which we do not expect to happen." We will, of course, do everything we can to. Oh no! Actually, hang on, switch that. So she brings you along there like that. That's the route she takes you. But she does point out that this is the med bay, and it will say on the door med bay. And she also points out that. When you get to the low berths. You don't get to the low berths, do you? Oh, yes, you do. You get to the low berths from there. Oh, that's a very weird layout of the ship.
You wouldn't want us to mix with the riffraff, surely.
No. No, definitely doesn't want to make you mix with the riffraff. I don't actually know how you get into low berths. Are effectively cryopods, aren't they? So you are in cryo for the entire journey of the ship. There's no way to get. There's no way to get out of this area anywhere into the main ship. It's ridiculous. Very strange. Anyway, lots of people say that the deck plan and things are often wrong. They don't really follow their own rules.
Maybe they just load them from the outside and stick them in the pods.
That looks to be exactly what they do. Yeah, I mean, you could get the launch from the outside, dock the launch to there, and get people in and out. That's pretty standard. Okay, so you're allocated each of you are allocated a high stateroom. The staterooms are well appointed. They have an area where you've each got sort of portals, not windows.
Viewports.
Yeah, viewports. That's the word I'm looking for. My brain stopped working again. You've each got viewports, probably screens rather than physical windows looking at the ship. But those screens kind of activate cameras that allow you to kind of look forward, aft, left, and right of the ship to give you a wide panoramic view of what you can see. And the ship is still currently in orbit around the primary main world of the Aki system. You can see, the beautiful, the glow of the planet. Things. There's, the bed is of a very large size, comfort. You each have your own wash changing facilities in there, as well as an area where a number of drinks of different kinds, wine, spirits, beer, etc., have been placed, and some sort of canapes and nibbles. And you are on your beds is kind of a welcome to kind of little pack with a notepad type thing.
Is there a chocolate on the pillow?
There's probably a chocolate on the pillow and a giraffe or an elephant or a monkey or whatever made out of towels. But I mean, it's a very nice. Certainly, it puts your berths on your ship to shame in terms of the standard in here. It's really nicely decorated, very airy. It's a high class, high stateroom. And sure enough, on the pillow is an invitation to the welcome banquet of the first inaugural Conference of Aki, where you are invited, cordially invited, to meet with your fellow hunters, to meet them, and to share food and drink with them.
I presume that's in the common area, is it?
It'll be number 2, won't it, I think?
Number 5.
Oh,
Choose the cargo hold. Number
I
5.
mean, number 5. Yes, the common area.
That could be interesting because technically we're not hunters. We just happen to have stumbled across things to do with these.
yes, but keep that to yourself because we are hunters.
Yeah. I'm going to say very little because that will get us in trouble.
Yeah. Well, you refresh. You refresh yourselves. You take some light refreshments, kind of chillax for the next couple of hours while you await the start of the.
Can we just briefly bring Evil up to speed so he knows what he can equip?
I've been listening.
Oh, you listen to me, brilliant, fantastic.
I'm always listening.
Always.
Especially when you're sleeping.
Okay. Do you wish to do anything before 7 o'clock? It's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I would guess that there's like a guidebook or a system that would help you familiarize yourself around the ship type of thing. So I'll look through that type of thing just to get the lay of the land.
Yes. So you are directed as follows. There is a terminal in each of your rooms. The terminal appears to have access to like a general overview of the Glisten Pearl, as well as some notes about its journey. It seems that the journey that has been planned will last 2 to 3 days and will take you out to the giant, to the rings of one of the gas giants in the system.
Are there any bullet points of what's going to be discussed at this conference?
There is no information on either the computer system, which is a general guide to the ship, or on anything that you have been given in your room as to the general content. No.
So we not know whether we'd have to make a speech or anything.
You don't know.
No.
Okay, so the green areas on the map are areas that it would appear that you, generally speaking, have access to. The grey areas are working areas, i.e. the med bay, the kitchen on your floor. The
Cargo space and
cargo
looking
space.
areas.
Yeah, the cargo space is off limits. If you have any cargo that's been stored in the cargo space, you should speak to a steward who will arrange for the bag or the cargo to be brought to you. Down on deck 1, or how do you look at this? Deck 1. I would say down deck 1 is probably the very bottom, isn't it? Deck 1. You have biosphere, the pool, training facilities, and a common area. So basically, that's your leisure suite. If you want to go down and pump iron and work and swim and all that kind of stuff and just chill out, you can do that down there. Up on your floor, you obviously have the staterooms, the high staterooms, and then you have a few standard staterooms. Those standard staterooms are also continued down on deck 3, but literally the corridor, only this area here, these 2 corridors here are permitted. And actually, as far as you can tell, there are no guests, according to the kind of the occupancy. There are no guests being held on deck 3. Other areas are off limits, like the bridge, power plant,
Jump drive,
turrets are all off limits. There's nobody registered or logged to be in low berth. You have studios here, which are kind of just like meeting roomy type things, a theatre, and then the kitchen. And so basically this is kind of deck 2 and a little bit of deck 1 is at your disposal.
Okay, well, I think we should all meet up and then discuss what information we're going to say about anything.
Okay.
And what we're going to keep
What's
as
the
mum.
security like in this place? Are the guards and things wandering about or in areas? Okay.
There are crew members. All of the crew members do, for the most part, are sporting pistols. The chief steward will recommend that you do not carry firearms in public. She does not ask you to check them in, as long as you leave them in your rooms when you are going about the conference.
That's fine.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was only asking because there's gunners and things, and it's military grade sensors and things. I wasn't sure whether it was guarded, like you're not allowed in this type of area and things.
I'm guessing each of our suites has like a secured locking facility so we can put things into it.
Correct.
Lock it. Fantastic.
Yeah, and each of your rooms has a lock that can be keyed to your communication devices to ensure that only you can open it, or overridden by a steward.
Yeah. Awesome.
Are there any like internet type services to get information, like the gas giant that we're going to? Anything we can find out information about it? Does it have any relevance to the ancients and things? What's the purpose of going there in particular? Is there any history with the ancients?
As far as you can tell, no.
Okay.
Let's have a look. There are 4 gas giants in Aki. The gas giant that has been identified as your soul, as your destination, is such because it has very interesting crystalline rings around it that if you view it from a specific angle where you get the main star, which is called Aki is the name of the star. You can, it kind of lights up and illuminates, and it just looks very, very magnificent. And so the idea is that while this conference is staying in system, we'll be flying out to the gas giant. We'll be, you'll then spend a day kind of circling around the gas giant so you can see the rings in all of their glory, and then 2 or 3 days returning.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that if it was anything to do with the ancients, that we kind of knew a little bit about it, so that we're not totally in the dark. But
doesn't appear
that's fine.
to be. No,
that's fine.
What you learn about the system. What you learn about the system is quite interesting. So it's classed as a puzzle world, and so a puzzle world in Traveller basically means it is an amber. It is an amber zone. Amber zones usually means that there is some risk if you're down on the planet itself. What you understand, so when you kind of read through the Imperial designation for Aki, It was settled in -138 by the crew and passengers of a passenger liner called the Rolf Drake, named after the Sword of Villani warrior king Golosh. The original castaways lost most of their technologies, but survived and grew to be a sizable population when they were discovered in the year 56 by an Imperial scout cruiser, and then placed under administrative interdict. By the 2nd century, Aki society had become so advanced that there remained little point to the interdict, and it was mostly ignored. From the year 200 onwards, immigrants from the Imperial settled there, mingled with the indigenous people. In 216, the interdict was replaced by an Imperial edict imposing technological import restrictions, and a small Class E starport was constructed. In the year 392, Aki joined the Imperium along with Kalia, Glisson, New Roman, Overnal. Settled from Deneb around the year 300, many of the settlers converted to Aborism, a pervasive religion. Around 450, religion and government remained separate. So I think it's about the year 450 at the moment. Off-worlders find the planet uncomfortable due to the large population, mostly crowded into large cities, and because of the hostile attitude of Aborites to non-members. And so that is generally why, one of the reasons why it's an amber zone. The majority of population, it seems, are militantly vegetarian, to be a pragmatic response to severe overpopulation and poor conditions for growing food crops.
So, overpopulation, that should turn to cannibalism.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so that's Aki itself. The main starport is now a Class B starport. It has about 2 billion people on the planet, and it's very, very dense. Yeah, that's about it, really. Most imports, exception of foodstuffs, are subject to a 10% tariff import duty. All normal Starship servicing fees are doubled due to the government effort to collect Imperial currency to facilitate off-world activities. So it's going to be very expensive having your ship on the station for a while. So, you kind of read through the blurb on Aki, and it doesn't really stand out as a particular interesting place beyond the actual gas giant and the rings of the rings, which seems like an odd reason to have the conference here.
Yeah, it's the type of place that you'd normally avoid rather than actually go there.
Yeah.
Well, costs and things, there's no reason to go there.
Yeah. The ship itself, as you've kind of discovered, is very meticulously clean inside. All of the metallic surfaces are gleaming in the light from the ship. The ship in the public spaces, the lighting is fairly subdued, not really harsh ship lighting. Okay. Well, 7 o'clock arrives, and each of you. Okay, yeah. Marcus suggested you meet before you go for the welcome reception.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Did you want to do that and discuss what you're going to say or not?
Definitely sensible thing to do is meet up and chat what's off limits and what we should be talking about if we do talk about anything. I think being vague is the most important thing.
And she doesn't have a clue.
Yeah, this is true.
So neither do I. So we're going to try and bluff it.
No, we should be vague.
So we don't know why we're here anyway. So until we find out why we've been invited, we're in the dark.
I think it's like
you can make small talk and just glean information, right?
Yeah, just listen. Yeah, I think it's
listen.
like Willem said, because we're the crew of the Avash. Yeah, then that's the reason we've been invited.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep the interesting stones quiet, I guess. Don't mention anything about them.
And keep an eye out for the interesting cultural items. Because we may find that somebody on here may have something that's culturally significant to us.
Oh, for the drawing.
Yeah.
Right.
Side quest.
Yeah, I'm more concerned that I might walk past something and it suddenly starts glowing if these stones glow.
Well, that's a good thing, although we don't know about that. But I mean, it's the reason I brought the case was if we do find anything we can take out, I can put it in there and it'll hide it.
Good point. But you've also got your ring, which hides it even better.
Yeah, but I don't leave my shotgun behind.
Is that full capacity then? Is the shotgun 4 kilos?
Yep.
Is it one item?
It's one item as well, yes. It's just one item.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good point.
And I think I would have tested it in the past and tried to attach things to one item and found out that whatever I tried to attach is left behind.
That's a good point. How's it handle ammo?
If the ammo is inside the item, it will take it.
Right. Okay, that's what I was to check.
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because that is 2 or 3 objects.
Yeah.
And so likewise.
But if it's mentally tuned, you would have thought that your mind would say the gun, which would include the ammo, the magazine, or the shells. Which is a bit stupid because it's only a 2 shotgun that I put in there. Oh well.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If you put a rifle in with a grenade launcher that's attached to it, does that count as 1 or 2 items? And you've got a pistol that's energy based.
I suppose it depends on how you visualize it. If you visualize it as one item, then it's one item.
Yeah. Let's just say the points anyway. So.
You head down to the common area, and this area here, like the very front of the ship, is a huge, almost 360-degree kind of viewport of the system. Already the ship is underway, kind of powering off at, how fast is it? Thrust 1. It's not very fast. I think your ship is thrust 2, so it's about half the speed of yours. It's also energy efficient, so it's just kind of leisurely making its way out towards the gas giant, several days away. When you arrive, there are already sort of a half dozen or so individuals, and you are introduced to each of them in turn. The first one that you meet is an individual that goes by the name of Arjun Nathusu. And he kind of smiles. He sort of says, well, welcome. I hear you are the current crew of the Garnet, that you've had some very interesting ancient experiences over the last few months. I'm eager to hear all about them. Perhaps we could get a drink and we could talk about them. Yes? Yes, how does that sound? Myself, I've been to a couple of the more publicly available sites. I have a few artifacts. And then he kind of conspiratorially looks around. He says, I would admit to someone of your stature, they're not real, but they look real. They look like the real thing. Yes.
Arjun, my friend, it's nice to meet you, and I'm sure at some point, if we have the time, we can have a chat. But why would you have artifacts that aren't real?
Oh, why wouldn't you? Do you not have replica artifacts yourselves?
No.
Everybody in the business has replica artifacts. Getting hold of the real thing is both difficult and could be illegal. I must say, I did say very hard for this conference, so I'm very much looking forward to hearing what the other experts have to say. I don't have a slot on the speaking agenda this next few days. Do you?
I don't know. Do you have a copy of the agenda?
Oh, no. Well, I would have thought you'd have been told that you had
There was one in your welcome package.
I would have thought you'd have been told that you were expected to give a speech. Well, I wonder if when we return to Aki, is the Garnet there?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh, would it be possible to get a look? A famous ship.
I mean, as long as you don't mind being recorded, as we're doing a documentary at the moment on the Garnet.
Oh, no, that would be absolutely fine. I don't mind. Well, yes. And he kind of trails off, not really sure what else to say.
That makes a few of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, if I wasn't playing Hashiko now, I would suggest we could have a charity auction for a visit to the Garnet and take some.
Yeah, a raffle. Each ticket costs something like 10,000.
No, these people are richer than that.
Oh, yes.
How have you dressed, by the way? So
Smart casual.
I was going to say, Arjun is in what you would describe as not quite smart, certainly casual.
Yeah, the cloth armor would probably be in something that would blend into smart casual. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Doesn't stand out, but
I'm in a set of various semi-formal kimonos.
The next individual that you meet is introduces themselves as Jessica Umgi. Turns out that she's a rather she is a pretty fair scholar. Brent, you were a scholar, weren't you, originally?
I was indeed.
And you're from Glisten, aren't you?
He was never a gentleman, though.
Never a gentleman. I don't actually think I put down where I was from.
yeah, I'm from Glisten, but I wasn't a scholar.
You're from Glisten. Okay.
Yeah, Glisten, yeah.
You are from Glisten.
Well, put me down as Glisten. I haven't got anything down, but if that helps.
Okay. All right. Well, all I was going to say is if you're from Glisten, you'd have probably met this woman at some point. She is a scholar in the University of Glisten.
Which means you'd know Sorrel as well.
Indeed. And she's kind of stood looking out through the viewport at the dwindling planet of Akai as you're kind of starting to accelerate out into the system proper, nursing what appears to be a glass, most likely of red wine or equivalent. She sort of looks up at you and smiles. Well, I think this is going to be an interesting couple of days, don't you think?
Certainly, Jessica. It should be a bit of an eye-opener.
Yes. And what are your theories that you are pushing about the ancients this week?
Well, to be honest, we're just here to listen to other people's thoughts and premises.
Well, I guarantee by the time he's finished, and she nods over at, I mean, you recognise him as you recognise Aish. You've seen him before, wearing what appears to be a rather ostentatious suit that, had it been properly tailored to him, may have looked half decent. As it is, despite the fact that it's very kind of lavish in its, its overall appearance, it simply makes him look like he's wearing a sack. And
The rest of my suits.
He is in deep conversation with this individual. And she kind of notes that you're kind of taking it in as she kind of gestures. She goes, yes, that is the magnanimous one and only Vlen Backett. Probably the only person here, present company accepted, because I don't really know you, that is a genuine ancient expert, despite what Aish might have you believe. I would listen more to Vlen's commentary, theories, the things that he puts forward than I would to Aish. But, Aish is our host and we should at least pay him some lip service.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, do you think that the ancients were human?
Who knows? Until we find a fossilized remain.
They were engineers.
Yes.
Well, I believe that perhaps ancient humans were ancient, if that makes sense, making ancients humans. But I also don't think they were one particular line of humans. I think they were more of a culture, a coalition of peoples. I will be delving into this in a little bit more detail during the conference.
I will wait with open ears.
I hope you will enjoy my call, my conversation.
I'll shake a hand and say, well, Jessica, it was nice to meet you again.
And
have a lovely stay on this fantastic ship.
The next person you will meet is this individual, Vincentia Dashley.
Character artwork where they don't look too horribly deformed.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Just a little bit deformed.
She seems to be in conversation with this individual. Zenhalia Alexi Kuda.
Sorry? Zenhalia
Alexi Kuda. She is currently nodding very vigorously at whatever Vincentia is telling her. And Vincentia seems to be punctuating the points that she's making quite aggressively with a half-drunk and somewhat at risk of being spilt glass of wine. And yeah, so yeah. You can, yes, absolutely.
Two seconds.
No worries. Vincenti, I presume you're doing that with. Mm-hmm. Okay. She is a little bit full of herself. She believes that she's right and everybody else is wrong when it comes to the theories of the ancients.
I'll kind of nudge Brent and Marcus, because I'm assuming we're us three are traveling around together.
Yeah.
And just be like, that one's confident.
Should we move closer for a listen?
You also, she pauses for a second, and as you're kind of near her, you hear her go, Steward, more wine, please, and none of that red slop that you gave me last time. Give me the better one. My goodness, the service on this ship is average at best.
Which one was that? Vincentia?
Vincentia to Zenhalia. And Zenhalia kind of looks a little bit sheepish, and she sort of nods. She goes, yes, I noticed myself that the service wasn't as good as I was expecting.
I have a feeling this whole gathering is going to be very cliquey.
Oh, yes.
A lot of infighting.
Well, they're all up to the same thing, aren't they?
Now, do any of you have the carouse skill?
I might have a little bit of carouse. Yeah.
If you have carouse, give me a roll.
Yeah. I should say I've got no
stock.
Yeah, I've got no social skills.
No social skills. That's fine.
Nice.
Pretty good roll.
At some point, sort of an hour in, you are having a look to see. Okay, right. About an hour in, so you, Ashido, this isn't something that this kind of event is probably something that you're at least able to hold your own in terms of carouse is your ability to kind of socialize.
Yeah, the Naval Academy alumni cocktail parties,
Yeah. Dresses might have been a little bit better than they are here, but and so every time one of your companions or yourself kind of goes to get a tray of vol au vents come around, or canapes of some kind, and you reach for them, you kind of you'll look at your companions and you'll kind of go, the white wine, or don't pick the white wine with that. And you're sort of guiding them through the correct
social niceties
and the correct choices of food and beverage, so that you're not making a faux pas. And here and there, you notice that Vicentia, sorry, not Vicente, that's somebody I used to work with. That's a very different person. Vicentia, except they wrote Vicente here in the book afterwards. Well, that's clever, isn't it? Her eyes keep straying towards you, and after about an hour or so, you notice she sort of starts to come over, and comes over to you, and she smiles at you and she says, "Well, I don't think we've had the pleasure. I am Vincentia Dashley. You are, my dear?"
Toshiko Kaida.
"Oh, very good. Nice to meet you. Awfully droll, this, isn't it?"
It's not so bad for a cruise liner. It's certainly got slightly better fixtures than the Garnet.
"Ah, you're from the Garnet. Well, that is interesting. You are right, though. The fixtures here are passable. I have to say I've been on better, much better, though I've been on worse. And the wine and the food is
Awful red they were serving up earlier. Pathetic.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness, yes. You agree with me then, did you? Yes, it was definitely not the best at all. And in fact, I told the chief stewardess to take it away and make sure it wasn't served to any of these guests. I'm sure the captain of knowledge no doubt would have spotted that himself had he not been too busy talking to Mr. Beckett over there. My goodness, have you noticed that he's not left his side all evening?
Interesting.
Well, what do you say we go and navigate the food and see if there's anything palatable beyond these canapes?
By all means.
She kind of holds her arm out. Holds her arm out.
Very well, yeah. At least I'm half decently dressed, so
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah. And so you two are kind of left as you watch Ashido and Shiko. Oh, yes.
I kind of give a look over my shoulder and say, "Mingle."
Yeah. And they kind of go off to one of the food stations, and very quickly, Vicente's kind of immediately sort of says, "I don't really understand the purpose of this conference. No doubt it's for us to all sit and listen to the so-called Captain of Knowledge's theories on the ancients, all of which I have to say are incorrect, though don't let him hear you say that too often because he doesn't like it when people challenge him. Personally, I think there never were anything that was really worthy of the title ancient. Rather, they were just powerful species that just collapsed once they got too powerful. And we have, as humans, have simply labeled all of them as ancients and created this myth that they were one and everything. Personally, I think we should identify each of these lost species in isolation. We should study them individually and really take time to explain every possible anomaly about them. Don't you agree?
An interesting theory, but I try to keep my mind open. I kind of give a bit of a glance as our host here, and say, even an idiot can speak the occasional grain of truth. Perhaps we can glean more from this conference than you think. There are others more suitable speakers, I understand, as well.
Oh, well, yes. There are. And I shall listen with eager interest at what new theories our good host has. Now,
Ever had any contact with the droid? Interesting species, I must admit.
can't say I have. No, I see them occasionally. They're lesser to us, aren't they?
They're what, sorry?
Lesser.
They are.
Level 25 ship, and she's saying they're lesser.
Yeah, they are different.
Well, I mean, they don't really speak to us very often. They seem to stick to themselves, and They're small. Lesser.
They are apart, yes, but I think they are very culturally different and somewhat incompatible with the niceties of our society.
Have you had the pleasure to meet them?
I've certainly dined with one, and I'll tell you something about that. I'll drop a random anecdote about not too much detail, but in terms of yeah, certainly a refined palate, but shall I say a little disordered. Worth some interrogation, I think. Nothing else, it's entertaining.
You for a moment you kind of pause and she kind of takes it in and she kind of nods. She looks a little bit unsure about how to respond. You get the impression that first of all, she's obviously a very wealthy individual, or at least comes from money. She certainly treats serving staff exactly as that kind of person would. And she also likes to be the person that has the most interesting, colourful story. And so as you kind of give her this after a few moments, she just stands there and she says, well, I have to say it's been a lovely conversation. Perhaps I'll see you later.
Indeed.
And she kind of wanders off. At that point, you hear her, well, it's excellent. Even Vlen will back me up on this theory, won't you, Vlen? And you can see the captain of knowledge. She's kind of puts his hand on Vlen Beckett's back, and Vlen kind of, as all eyes and attention come onto those two, he kind of just quietly says, I've heard about your theory, yes, and it's very interesting. Oh, excellent! You see, even the great Vlen Beckett agrees and backs me up on my theory. That's excellent. Oh, that's so good. Both Arjun and Zenalia kind of immediately sort of gravitate towards that conversation. And as they arrive, it kind of, I'm sorry. The time is getting away from me. I think it's time to bring proceedings to start. And you watch as Ace kind of walks over to a podium that's kind of set up at the front of the common room. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention, please. I'd like to thank you all for joining us on the first of what I hope will be many conferences of Akai. A time when all of us, prominent ancient hunters, but none more so than myself, of course, and the great Vlen Beckett, can listen to each of your theories and discuss them openly. And of course, between us all as experts in our field, we can author the truth, as it were, for the ancients. As you know, I am somewhat of a known entity in this field. I would argue that there is none greater than me in overall knowledge of the ancients. I mean, as you know, the Imperium were using a somewhat dated, incorrect model to date the age of the ancients and their collapse. And as you know, I was able to prove with my own paper entitled The Chronology of the Ancients' Collapse that the Imperial had got it wrong by several thousand years, and that the collapse was much earlier than they had expected. And then, of course, there's a so-called psionic exodus theory. That also was mine. And again, you see Zenhalia nodding at this. Jessica kind of just stands there and doesn't really make any kind of doesn't kind of side with his comments either way. He's just kind of passively, neutrally. Vicentia keeps tutting quite openly, and again, Arjun is kind of just standing there, kind of enraptured. I'd like to thank you all, as I say, for coming. So he goes on and lists a whole bunch of things, each which seems to be more and more bold in their claim. Things like personally prove that the ancients didn't uplift humanity, we were already viable, expose the tertiary wave theory as fabrication despite everything else, that the ancients transit network was decommissioned and not collapsed, and so on and so forth. And then he's kind of wrapped it up by saying, I hope to be able to discuss with you this week some interesting knowledge that I've come by. I believe, based on some math and calculus that I've done, that there is an ancient site that is still active within about 120 parsecs of here. And I aim to prove it to you all before the conference is over. But enough of me. I'd like to thank you all. And very much he goes off on a very rambling conversation, speech for the next sort of 20 minutes. 1 minute talking about the ancients, the next minute talking about his dog, the next minute after that talking about, his museum and how Bernadetta and the crew spent many a time at the museum, bringing amazing artifacts for him to house and to display. Really? There is an appendix at the back here that's got 2,000 words in about the kind of things he talks about. I'm not going to read it. But yes, it goes on for probably about 45 minutes, and you're all kind of stood there politely listening, and every so often nodding, and every now and then clapping. And then he says, well, and finally, I'd like to thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to an excellent couple of days of conversation and learning and discussing theories of the ancients. And of course, we'd like to hear from our newest members of our little enclave, and he kind of gestures to the three of you. For those of you who don't know, unfortunately, Bernadetta and her crew, the crew of the Garnet, met in a rather unfortunate accident, though nobody can quite explain what happened, just that they died. And this is the new crew of the Garnet.
And with that, I shall raise my wine glass full of water and just hold it up high and then have a drink.
The tour over the next few days, the liner is going to tour the system, giving you spectacular views of the gas giant ring system. And during the time, there'll be plenty of opportunity for us to discuss important matters, share information, discuss theories, perhaps disprove or prove some theories. And then, towards the end, I will give you the reason that we all here. I've come into some new information that I am guaranteed will blow all of your minds and will advance our knowledge of the ancients and our belief of the ancients, our understanding of them decades. And so I can't wait for that. And so, he says, he raises his glass, I declare the conference open. Like I said, enjoy yourself for the next couple of days. The ship is yours to enjoy. Make use of the facilities. It's all paid for. We'll have a few conversations, no doubt. And as I say, in a couple 3 days' time, we will very much sit and I will give you all of the information, the big reveal that I've promised. And he kind of steps down from the podium. Zenhalia and Arjun basically clap. The professor, Jessica, she kind of politely claps.
Yeah, that's
Golf clap.
basically what I was going to do.
And the same with Vlen. He kind of he politely claps. Vicentia just kind of tuts again and steward, more wine. Very loudly. Okay.
So, out of curiosity, how far is a parsec then? Is it one sector type thing, or
Yes. So
okay?
in if you look at a sector map, so if we go to here, each hex is a parsec.
Okay, so 120 parsecs is a long way.
Yes. It's a very long way.
So it's like, yeah, that's not much of a statement. It could be absolutely anywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
And the
it's
likelihood
2
of
weeks.
finding an ancient site in 120 parsec radius of your location is actually higher than you would think.
Yeah,
Although technically it's probably still close to 0.
yeah. Needle in a haystack of haystacks.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure how realistic that statement was, but yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, anything you want to do for the rest of the evening? Speak to anybody else?
I think just generally mingle and listen to conversations.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming.
We'll try and figure out a little bit more about these cliques. Who's actually serious and
Okay.
who's just a bunch of posers.
All right. So
like
there
the
are 1,
Asian-
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 delegates plus yourselves. As you spend the next sort of 2-3 hours kind of chatting to the delegates, you learn the following. So Aish, the captain of knowledge, he's very bombastic, self-important. He views himself as the preeminent ancients hunter. He even views himself as better than Vlen.
even though he follows on his coattails.
Basically, you know, his stance on the ancients is that he knows more than anybody else, that he has proven or disproven more theories about the ancients than anybody else, and that personally he has advanced ancients' understanding by at least a decade through his own personal research and time spent in looking into their presence. And he is holding something back, a revelation of sorts that, despite, you know, a couple of people kind of through the evening, even as he gets a little bit more merry, try and pry that information out of him. And he just keeps saying, you'll have to listen to my talk. Vlen. He goes out of his way to be very polite to anybody that speaks to him, no matter who they are, whether it's the bombastic captain of knowledge, the arrogant Vicentia, the clingy Arjun, the hero-worshipping Zenua. He is very polite. He always kind of stands in the background, doesn't really draw any attention to him. And his stance seems to be very simple. He is here to drink fine wine, eat fine food, and listen to interesting ideas from others. Vicentia, you've already worked out, is arrogant and pushy. Her stance very much is there were no ancients, just lots of impressive civilizations, and that you can't really see the trees for the forest you're imagining. She's probably the most annoying of the group. She clearly believes that this ship, despite all of its finery, is beneath her, and offers her a substandard service to the one she is used to having. Arjun is very much enthusiastic and clingy. Once he latches onto somebody who's sharing information, he begs them to tell him everything and then tell him more. And so any of you that kind of get caught in a conversation with him, find yourself there for a lot longer than you would want to. Jessica, the scholar from Glisten University, is interested in what is on what is on offer and will be discussed these coming days. Her view seems to be one that it was a coalition of species forming in a distinct culture, though she has no idea which species, and for her that is the million credit question. And Zenua is very much a hero worshipper of the Captain of Knowledge. Wherever he is, whatever audience he's holding, whether it's with a member of the crew or whether it's with one of you, she's always just in the background listening to what he says. Over the next couple of days, then, you're kind of this conference where you expect to be in, theatre lectures pretty much every day, discussing things, workshopping, doesn't really seem to materialize like that, at least for the first couple of days on board the ship. Everything is fairly quiet, everything is fairly mundane. You kind of fall into a routine. You wake up late or early, go down to the gym if that's your proclivity, work out, swim, then lounge in the viewing area, the common room, and just watch the system go by, generally chatting about things, nothing massively onerous. It's probably towards the end of day 2 when the Captain of Knowledge announces that tomorrow we'll see the first of the conference presentations to be given by Jessica, and he hopes that all of you can attend at 3 p.m. standard time.
I'll definitely
to
miss that
listen
one.
to her theories. Later on that evening, the three of you are all kind of lounging by one of the viewports, just generally chatting quietly and not a lot else to do, so drinking. When Vlen approaches, may I? And he kind of gestures to an empty seat.
You may, sir. And I'll
Sure.
reach out a hand and say, Brent.
Ah, yes, Vlen. Vlen Beckett. Pleasure to meet you. I understand that you have come into ownership of the Garnet. Yes.
Yes, through sad circumstances, I may add.
Well, if you don't mind, I would very much like to hear of those circumstances. I had a pleasure to meet Bernadetta. I believe she was the former captain.
She was indeed.
She always seemed very knowledgeable. I once remembered riding on the Garnet, actually. Quite privileged at the time. We were both heading to Blanca to meet with her on slightly different matters, although probably both related to the ancients, if I recall correctly. I was very sorry to hear of Benedetta's death. She would be a loss to the community. Do you know what happened?
We have some working theories.
Please.
Sadly, we never met Benedetta. We just know her by reputation.
Great woman. Great woman.
Indeed, a lot of people say that's about her.
So tell me, how did you come about the Garnet then if you'd never met the woman?
We were on our way to meet Blanca.
Blanca is such a wonderful Varga.
She's a font of information.
She is one of those, and he kind of drops his voice a little bit, and his eyes kind of dart over to where Aish is kind of holding some kind of powwow with a couple of the other delegates. He sort of says, she is a genuine expert. I visited her a few times, both on... I forgot the name of the planet now that you were on. What does your note say?
Was it Callia, was it?
No, Callia. Oh, Callia. Was it Callia? It was Mackintown was where you met her. And it was Callia. Well done. Yeah. Yeah, he says, yes, I've met her both at Callia and her other home. Yes.
Sadly, we'd never met her at her other home. But perchance, where was that?
Well, that's something that she would have to tell you. It was a long time ago, I must say. Most recently, she's been on Callia, though I would suggest that we don't let the others. And again, his head kind of involuntarily nods towards Aish, know where she's based.
I concur. But no, she's a wonderful person and quite a good shot with a sniper rifle, apparently.
Yeah. So, you were saying, yeah, you went to see her and the Garnet?
Yes. Again, as my friends here will agree that we touched down in Callia Port, and the Garnish was there, and the crew sadly were not. Many hits had accidents that they lost their lives through these various accidents. Unfortunately, it's quite for a quiet town. It's quite a hostile environment.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have to say, well, I'd never encountered any problems in Mackintown.
It was very strange. There seemed to be a whole glut of people being savaged by beasts or falling down hills near water and being ripped apart by the current and things like this. It's very, very strange.
It does indeed.
Very series of unfortunate events.
It was.
In
fact, that's a good title for a TV show.
And this was what is that? What happened to Bernadetta?
Well, I'm guessing so. We never saw what happened to Bernadetta, but her remains were there, just quite separated from each other. I mean, all I can assume is she fell into maybe a combine machine that was harvesting at the time.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's very terrible. I don't know if she was doing that in the first place, but it just seemed very, very strange.
That's very terrible. Well, and so how did you end up with her ship? I mean, it's probably the most well-known ship in all of the hunter community. I imagine monetary value for the name alone must be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of credits.
Vlen, my friend, we had no knowledge of this whatsoever when we encountered Blanca. It was all new to us. We stumbled into this, to be quite honest. But yes, it's unfortunate what happened to her.
You do have the ship legally, yes?
Oh, we do. Blanca signed.
I mean, there's no likelihood here of us being raided by the Imperial Navy and you arrested.
No, my friend. It's all legal above board, and Blanca signed it over to us herself.
Interesting. Well, that's good. You know, the ship itself, there's something odd about that ship. I'm sure I heard Bernadetta tell me on one of our journeys that it had a strange past, that it had been pretty much rebuilt almost from the ground up, given a new registry. But I understand, though, that there are no real records of its previous service. Nobody's able to say where it was and what happened to it. Don't you find that interesting?
I do now. Did we do a search on it that discovered that in the first place?
I can't remember if you did.
It does echo.
You might have done.
Mm.
You might have done.
Oh, is that one of our ships that was left somewhere that was... No.
So...
I believe it had been on a voyage to Proxima Centauri and then reappeared several years later just near Neptune.
Maybe.
Oh, wait, no, that's the plot of Event Horizon. Sorry.
That's the plot of Event Horizon.
I was going to say, that didn't sound familiar to me at all.
Oh, I know, it's in my notes.
I was trying to work out where that came from, because I'm like, I don't know where Neptune is in the... I would imagine
don't know. It's Sol, right? Because Sol's
it would be
lost,
Sol.
isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Terra, yeah. So, what do you think of our host?
He has some
interesting theories. So nice conference he's put together, don't you think?
Indeed, I think it's been very welcoming, and he's quite open to lots of theories.
He is. That's one of the things that I've always admired about him, that he does at least listen to other theories, and then he acts upon them. Yes, he's definitely prominent in the community, I would say.
Just on a side note, Glenn, and I hope you don't mind me calling you Glenn, but we came across a character called Willem Referum Weiss. What's your thoughts on him?
Oh, the gentleman over there?
Oh, have we thought him out?
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you? No, you couldn't.
That's right. He got a room rather than a fridge, didn't he?
Yeah. Hang on, my battery's gone low. Yeah, well, I've had the opportunity to meet with him. He's new on the journey. He's been quiet and listening. He's been quiet and he's been listening to some of the things that people have said over the last couple of days. I noticed, though, that he seems to have a camera drone with him. And keeps following some of your crew members around.
Yes, we agreed to let him do a documentary if he came along with us.
Yeah.
I just want to know if we've already got his side of events, but he's not very friendly with Aish, apparently, our veteran host.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, Aish is he is what you see.
Willem did tend to lean towards the fact that they had some kind of history.
Yeah, possible. Me, I don't try not to get involved in those kind of things.
No, live and let live.
The rest of the delegates, what do you think?
Well, I try not to go on a first view, but there's now just queer as folk.
Well, I know what you mean there, and I think you'd be in agreement with me when I say that this kind of line of work does attract the slightly queerer folk.
Indeed, it does. But then from that kind of mind comes amazing theories and suppositions.
Yes, and you know, it's funny you say that. There are definitely some interesting ideas here amongst our delegates. But before I could dig into whether I think any of them are good or not, I really need to look at the research. You know, I always say facts speak louder than opinion.
I definitely agree with that from my scientific background. That if it can't be proven, then why say it?
Exactly, exactly. You know, talking about why we're here. So what are your views on the ancients? I mean, you're flying the garnet. Garnet is a name that's synonymous with ancients, crewed by ancient hunters. You must have some passing interest.
I have my own personal theories, but this has nothing to do with my crew or their views. But and I'm going to throw some wild theory out here. Um, I personally believe that the ancients were an early form of humans that had a very scientific knowledge, a very huge scientific knowledge, and maybe they were messing in eugenics, and the fact that they able to manipulate our DNA of our species throughout time to a subtle point where they were directing us in a certain way. And when it comes
Well,
down to it, science, it's like magic. If you went down to a native indigenous species with no technology and um, no scientific knowledge, and you showed them a starship, they would think it's magic for this wonderful thing to be floating in the sky. And they would probably consider us ancients to have such technology. That's
well,
just my.
that's a very interesting view. I mean, the ancients, I mean, it's a huge subject. You just have to listen to everybody around here. I agree, they definitely existed. Well, at least as a concept. Maybe you or some of the others are right here. Maybe it's hard to say if they were one species, a faction within a species, a culture made up of many species. I don't know. I'm not sure the evidence points any particular way.
No, I mean, it could be an alien species looking to cultivate planets in using the drones, as in the human race, to do so.
Yes.
What's your views on the drawing? I'm going to hook that from Hashiko's question from earlier.
The drawing are an interesting species. There are some that believe that perhaps the drawing in themselves were linked somehow to the ancients. Me, I'm not sure. I don't know that the drawing would have been one of the um, strongest contenders, to be fair. As I said, yeah, the drawing as a species are fascinating for sure. I've met a few, but not many. But no, I don't think they're particularly related too strongly to the ancients.
Culturally, it would suggest not. They are a strange people, but
Indeed, very strange people. My understanding is that some are appointed ambassadors to humans, and those are the ones that we tend to see more frequently than others. Even so, they still have strange habits, I understand.
yes, very odd in my experience.
Indeed.
They do, however, seem to have some fairly exceptional technology, certainly beyond what I've seen within the Empire.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about their origins and whether they how far they date back in our records?
I don't know how far they date back, to be honest. As I say, I wouldn't
Certainly
say they're.
pre-Imperium.
Yes, I wouldn't say they're speciality of mine by any imagination. I agree that occasionally the ones that I've seen do seem to have technology that at least rivals our own, and in some cases perhaps surpasses our own. How they came about it, I don't know. They don't seem to be that flashy in terms of what they do with it. So
I think they're interested in us purely from a curiosity standpoint.
I think so too. Yes, they definitely want to learn about us.
Not in a concerning way though, just in a
Curious way.
Curious and an observational passing type approach. One of the things I was wondering though is perhaps next time if I get ever have the opportunity again to speak with one, I'll ask if they had any theories or legends regarding the ancients. Have you ever spoken to any other races regarding their mythology around them?
I suppose I've spoken to most of the major races, most of what we would call our major races here, the Varga, the Eolissa bunch. Yeah, everybody seems to have similar kind of views that most people agree that they existed. Everybody seems to differ in how they existed, as we've talked about. Were they a single species, a culture, a faction within a species? Everybody seems to think, though, that some kind of conflict happened with the ancients several hundred thousand years ago. Pretty much everybody seems to believe that they had some kind of civil war, or heaven forbid, something from outside fought them.
Could
But
also be a difference of opinion.
The thing that puzzles me, and what do you think? I would have thought that even if there was a huge war, whether it's civil or external, there would have been some survivors. Some
perhaps a weapon of such total destruction may have been unleashed, a viral agent, or
but in which
perhaps
case, then there would be some signs, fossils, or remnants of that civilization.
maybe, but what if they had degenerated? If you look at this system that we're in, the original arrivals, they crashed here, they got stranded here, and they degenerated in their technological understanding. And it took them decades and hundreds of years before they were able to reclaim their technological prowess. Perhaps the same could have happened. I mean, perhaps there could still be ancients walking amongst us today.
On that theory, we could be the ancients.
All
of us. No,
we?
all of us. Humanity.
Well, that would be fascinating.
Maybe the ancients degraded to such a point where it became legend of this superior race that lived before us, and it's really actually us.
That is interesting.
Well, perhaps something disrupted their transportation, for example. I mean, take our Imperium itself. It is, in some ways, incredibly fragile, reliant on an interconnected web of infrastructure and supply.
Indeed.
If we, for example, lost the ability to traverse the sectors for even 10 years, I would suggest the majority of the empire would collapse.
It would indeed, yes. You'd find anarchy and chaos everywhere, and a complete dissolution of
a level of
culture.
technology requires infrastructure and an incredible balance of interplay between planets, material supplies, manufacture, research capability. If that collapsed, technology would degenerate within years. There might be a few isolated pockets that perhaps might survive better than others.
In some sort of out of the way system that we haven't yet visited.
Indeed.
I mean, there's everything beyond the Great Rift that we're still struggling to traverse. It's an interesting. I hadn't thought
Really,
about
what Great Rift? Sorry, don't know the setting.
the Great Rift. Hang on a sec. So there is a part of the system, a part of the fairly local system that's called the Great Rift. It is an area where the planetary solar system and physical places where you can refuel are very few and far between.
There's just a distant, like a lack of
Yeah.
systems, etc.
Yes,
like a gulf.
Yeah. I'm having a look. I think that's it there.
And how long ago do we think the ancients were around? Is it hundreds of thousands of years? Or
Hundreds of thousands of years, yes.
That's a lot of time to lose.
still not long in stellar.
Well, if you think the human race at this moment is what 12,000 years, people are saying, even though they're finding things from like 20,000 years ago.
Well, quite. But my point is, like in terms of stellar lifetime, 100,000 years is a blink, right?
Yeah.
Talking millions, if not billions.
Yeah.
For significant.
So the Great Rift kind of sits to the north, south, east, west, sort of the northwest of the the Aslan Empire, and there are some things across the rift. There's a place called Reft, for example, and then the rift span reaches. So the rift span reaches at the moment is the only place with a possible jump route, but you need a jump 5 ship to do it.
Gotcha.
And that gets you across the rift span reaches from the Aslan Empire across from one part of the Aslan High Rate to the other part of the Aslan High Rate. To the sort of the southwest of that, it opens up into effectively what is known as the Great Rift.
Uncharted space, basically.
Let's see if I can do this. Hang on. I think I can do this. If I do try this. See if this works. There you go. That works.
Beautiful.
So if you expand that map out a little bit, that's the area of the rift. So you've got the yellow area, which is the sort of the southern part of the Aslan high rate, and then you've got the small yellow to the north, across where the rift span reaches are. That is the known route across to that part of space. And then if you track sort of southwest, you find places like Big Empty, No Shore, Few Stars, First Prospect, Unnamed, etc. And that is, as you can see, as you go southwestwards, that is known as the Great Rift.
Yep.
You get to Far Shore 2, Crossing, Last Prospect, Open Rift, and then it goes open again, Far Side of Nowhere, and all those kind of stuff. So that is effectively the Great Rift, that area there.
And all those planets or systems in the Great Rift, I take it, are unexplored.
Yes.
Right.
And then if you zoom out, we are effectively in our Milky Way, and it's one arm of the Milky Way. You can see just how much of space is charted versus how much of space is available. And you keep going north, you see where the Zidani had got to in terms of the furthest they'd ever got to.
Still loading for me. It takes a while. But yeah.
Yeah, it takes for ages. It's very slow, this traveller map. So yeah, so Charter Space. You know, if you think about Elite Dangerous, right? If you've played the modern Elite Dangerous, there is a small part of what they called the bubble, which is where all of the known inhabited systems were. Then when you zoomed out of the map, you could go all the way to the north of the Milky Way, and it's the same. You've got this tiny area of space known as Charter Space where everything is. You've got something very far north where the Zidani reached in terms of the furthest they've ever gone northwards, and then you've got the Great Rift to the southwest. And there's a whole box set that focuses on traversing the Great Rift. Deep Night Revelation is a campaign that focuses on, it's a 20-year in-game campaign that focuses on you journeying across the rift. So yeah, happy days.
It's almost like something happened there to, like it's almost like a blast happened, sort of like at the rift span reaches and took out all those areas there.
Yeah. So you got a little piece of the Empire, the Varga to the north, the Zidani to the northwest. You've got the Sword Worlds to the east, I think. Soleimani to the south, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But most of what we do in the game is focused on just that little bit of occupied space.
One of the spiral arms, yes.
Yes.
There's even a lesser rift. That's quite cool.
Awesome, thank you.
No worries. And he'll spend sort of 10-15 minutes explaining the Great Rift, given you're not massively familiar with it.
I'm assuming Hoshi would be, but like,
Yeah, Hoshi would be as an Imperial lady. She would definitely know of the Great Rift. Okay.
Well, Vlad, it's been wonderful to talk to you. And your just out of interest, what are your theories on the ancients?
My theories.
or at least your favourite for now.
For now, yes.
Well, like I said, I suspect that they were one of the major races. Most certainly not the Kukri or the Hivers, but certainly one of the others. I rather think of them as a culture than a specific species. And even then, perhaps that species or the species that had ancients, the ancients were not all of that species, but perhaps just a part of that species. I hesitate to call them the elite because not always that is the case. Maybe they were servants of that race. The builders, I think you said, Oshiki, or one of you said. In terms of what happened to them, as I said, I do lend it my belief towards a civil war or something similar. Although I find your comment, Brent, on survivors to be quite enlightening. And think about it later. I've visited a number of the ancient sites nearby. I visited Amristar in Deneb, Suffren in Diaspora, Batan in the Trojan Reaches. That one was an interesting one. Exciting to get to. Lethal atmosphere notwithstanding. But all of them just ended up being disappointing. Not what I was expecting. So I'm kind of here to listen and learn like yourselves, and perhaps we can understand together perhaps our little group here can come up with a theory that is actually of merit.
That transcends other people's theories. I'm of the mind I like to listen while the ducks squabble, as such, or gabble. I think as a group of people that everyone has a wonderful theory, and maybe out of that will come a glimmer of truth.
Indeed. Next couple of days kind of past normal. You end up at...
I would have gone to Jessica's.
Yeah. So okay. So
Yeah.
let's do Jessica's presentation then. There's a point that I want to get to because I need everybody and we need everybody to play when the next piece happens. So I'm going to get us to that bit and then we'll call it a night. So again, it's me just talking a lot at you at the moment, unfortunately. Jessica's presentation, 3:00 the following day. Everybody turns up. She begins with a very interesting 40-minute presentation on known starfaring civilizations of the past 500,000 years. Whilst it's peripheral to ancients, it is nonetheless interesting, and you all learn something. And she sort of says that some of the species of that time, these starfaring species, formed a coalition which today we consider to be the ancients. I'm positive that Droin and the Varga were part of this coalition. Although whether this was all of them or just factions, I have no idea. And of course, there were starfaring humans as far back as 250,000 years ago, at least. But not sure which of the humans were part of the coalition. And it's at that point that the Captain of Knowledge begins to kind of get a little bit antsy. He yells out a challenge that he knows that the ancients were humans from Earth and that Jessica is wrong, that her theory is wrong. And you can see this kind of throws her off her mark. And Brent, to your point, to your perspective, having kind of spent a lot of time amongst scholars, somebody raising a question that's framed in such a way as to challenge the scholars or the professors or whatever's knowledge is okay, as long as it's done in a respectful way and you give that person time to respond. But Captain of Knowledge doesn't. He declares that she's clueless, that she has no idea what she's talking about, that her theories are all wrong on the basis that I have proven that ancients were humans from Earth. And this kind of sets her on edge. And Brent, you recognize that this line of reasoning, or even if you want to call it reasoning, from the Captain of Knowledge is kind of thrown her off her game. Eventually, that lecture. Go on, sorry, Kath.
I was going to say, can I try the read surface thoughts, telepathy thing on Captain of Knowledge? See if he's trying to hide something and distract.
Yeah, go for it.
Just to see if he genuinely believes that is wrong or whether he's trying to hide something.
Absolutely can, yes.
Let's see. So it's average roll 8 plus Not going to be an easy roll anyway. Oh,
Surface thoughts of him. He is full of himself. He's definitely not hiding anything. In fact, he is determined to get his point over no matter what, that she is wrong and he is right.
okay.
And
So
that's
it's not
what
from
he
a hesitant.
believes. He genuinely believes he's right, she's very wrong.
Okay. Goes to
Pretty
for
shit scientists, don't they?
for future reference. If you do that type of thing, and that a telepath, it doesn't work.
Okay.
Because they've got a natural shield type of thing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they have no idea that it's actually been done to them unless they're a telepath.
Yeah. The rest of Jessica's conference lecture just dissolves into a huge argument that sees the captain determined to have the very last word. Eventually, she storms out almost in tears, and he just kind of sits there basking in the glory of a point well made in his favor, in his opinion.
As she leaves, I'll get up and leave.
Okay.
In obvious disgust that the captain had knowledge, not letting anyone else get their points across.
No worries. Okay. The following day, as the Glisten Pearl slides into orbit around the gas giant Akai 7, you are all invited to the main lounge, where the Captain of Knowledge has has basically invited you to hear his great revelation. Once again, an early evening time is set. You arrive a little bit before to refreshments, canapes, the usual kind of thing, and a podium sat directly at the end, the far end of this kind of observation deck, in clear view, with the gas giant and its magnificent rings as a backdrop. 7 o'clock arrives, 7:10, 7:15, 7:30. And then, with a swagger of incredible self-importance, the captain comes up and takes his place on the podium. And he kind of looks, and he stands and he says, "Behold!" And he kind of gestures to the magnificent view. And it is a very moving view of these magnificent rings. And he just stands there. And as you take in that stunning view for about 10 minutes or so, and then the boredom, you kind of get that ripple of kind of boredom. It's like, I've had enough now. I'm just looking at pretty rocks, but that's all they are. They're just pretty rocks, and I'm not here for pretty rocks. And he keeps holding for a little bit longer. And then he kind of clears his throat and he says, "A wonder of the cosmos laid out before us, yet it is nothing to what I have to tell you. The time has come. At last." Long ago, there were a crew of brave spacefarers who were cruelly ambushed and downed on a hostile planet. They survived only by making their way across the surface to a ruined ancient site and unlocking its technologies. everybody give me sort of education. Let's have a look. I never remember the skills here. So, boom. Close that for a sec. Give me a PC. Give me Brent's character sheet. He's a perfect example of.
Easy though.
Really give me just plain straight up education rolls.
Average?
Average, yeah.
Oof.
Not good rolls. None of us.
I've got a Scooby Doo what he's on about.
Right, hero point.
There's no heroes. Okay. Oh dear. Marcus. No, none of you. Oh god, that's not so good. Okay, so well, hang on. Let me roll for Carver.
Even worse.
And let me roll for Ozzy.
There we
What a
go.
hero. Double one, double 6.
That's right. Snake Eyes followed by Galaxy.
He goes on and tells a story for about 5 or so 10 minutes. And about 10 minutes in, Ozzy leans over to the three of you and he sort of says, I've heard this one before. Have you not?
Yes, it's wine.
This is the plot of Twilight's Peak.
I've not heard that one, Ozzy.
Glancing over, suddenly a couple of people begin to kind of groan in the audience. And then you notice Vlen seems to grin with that kind of amused grin on somebody's face. And then he quickly kind of composes himself to kind of hide it. And then he's like, yes, you're right. This is the plot of Twilight's Peak. Many others have sought to decipher that cryptic tome to see if there's something to it beyond fiction. But only me, I, the captain of knowledge, have discerned its secrets, and what secrets they are. Yes, the key was a certain phrase within the text, an obscure reference, easy to miss, but not for one of my stature. Easy to misinterpret, to come up with a misleading interpretation. But no. Once I understood its meaning, everything else became clear. I know where a functioning ancient site resides. And what's more, my friends, you're all about to get a front row seat as the crew of the Glisten Pearl are willing to take us there. Riches and glory await those who are willing to follow their captain.
If we turn up outside of Neptune in a few years, I'm going to be really annoyed.
He begins to explain how bits of knowledge came to his attention, how Benedetta brought some things, Vlen others, people this, people that, messengers, different things, contacts here, contacts there, fragments of information, all seemingly nonsense or cryptic or fragments of a greater whole. And then you can see around him this kind of holographic projection of bits of paper starting to mesh together and images starting to come together. And he starts to draw obscure connections, compares phrases to others, the patterns of symbols in equations. And you see that the words around him change from handwriting to stark, simple text with lots of information, places, times, numbers, names, scrolling faster and faster and faster. And you see a single phrase repeated in oddly familiar handwriting. There lies, all lies, blatant lies, a deceitful mountain in shadow and light. Supposedly writing in the original manuscript of Twilight's Peak. He continues to show you how he's pulled out in meanings from the full text, logic that he presents to you all over the next sort of 30 minutes to an hour is tortuous, riddled with holes, but revelations keep on coming. He believes that the Gyro Cadiz task force really existed, although the names have been changed in the text. He's not concerned with the cargo or the betrayal, only the part where the crew found something strange. The wolves, according to him, being Varga raiders, known to be operating in the region. The task force passed through at that time. Some were allied to the Outworld Coalition, some just seeking booty. The ambush drove Gyro Cadiz down, forcing the crew to seek shelter. And I found, and then all of a sudden, he is cut off by the ship's intercom's urgent signal. He yells out in frustration and rage, almost drowning out the announcement. All passengers and crew, do not be alarmed. We are about to be boarded by personnel from the Imperial Navy vessel. You are in no danger. Please cooperate fully. I repeat, you are in no danger. Please cooperate fully. And that's where we're going to call it tonight. Sorry, tonight was very much me kind of spinning some story to you rather than you doing a lot of interaction.
Really, really
Yeah,
good.
that's fine.
What was the name of the book? Sorry,
Twilight's Peak.
Twilight's Peak.
I will get some info on Twilight's Peak to you by next week.
That was really good. Thank you.
I mean, I can read it really quickly. Actually, it's 2 pages. So, Twilight's Peak. The task force left Vaingen with a cargo of pharmaceuticals for Regina. It consisted of 4 ships, 3 scouts and a transport. The transport, Gyro Cadiz, was a remade subsidized merchant fitted with long-range tanks. Our ship, the Blatant Lie, was a bold protector now, our own mission sidelined. Another, the Carlisle, was a sleek new ship with a freshly trained crew. The last, Black Gold, was a ringer, a courier with a crew of malice and mould. The route we took was circuitous, intended to avoid Zerdani patrols. At times, the group even jumped to deep space and then again to a world beyond. I fell sick at Rylanor and laid in bunk through weeks of suffering. Whilst I shivered, fever-wrecked, we were betrayed. A call for help was heard, but when we approached, there was no damned merchant in need. 2 fanged raiders waited in devious ambush. They launched a salvo. We were hit, but these were no ship killers. A crash was what they planned. The Gyro Cadiz was forced to land, and it landed badly. We dove to aid the transport, calling for aid, but Black Gold and Carlisle were fighting one another. They circled furiously, our comrades battling the enemy within. We fought the wolves and lost. Down spun the gallant Blatant Lie, crashing as the raiders planned. No more were seen of Black Gold and Carlisle. We accepted death, but that we were spared. A navy ship, perhaps more, had heard our call. They smote full upon the raiders with star-hot plasma and fire-tailed spearheads. The battle ensued for hours. One raider broke up, wreckage landing all around us. The other fled, harried by the Navy. They had not seen us nor heard our desperate pleas. We took stock, survivors from the gyro Cadiz and Blatant Lie. Surveying the results, the crew found that nothing would now fly. Not gyro, not Blatant Lie, certainly not Black Gold nor Carlisle. Those were gone, or worse, might return. Unsure of who to trust, we left our dying ships. We marched over land in no particular direction, seeking shelter or usable wreckage or a ray of hope. One dawned. A salvage of parts from the wreck could make Blatant Lie fly again, parts from Gyro Cadiz, even from the Wolf ship. But first they must survive. One of the scouts was a traitor. Which one? Hiding was necessary, and there was nothing in any direction, nothing but the mountain. So the mountain! We glimpsed in twilight a structure perhaps, high up on the slopes beyond our reach. We walked anyway. Well, what we did from there were wolves abroad. Unknown to the survivors, some of the raiders had survived. We found one, injured and dying. He told us of betrayal, of a scout ship crew replaced with mercenaries, an inside job, a hijacking. He died slowly. We did not kill him, but we did little for him. His body we left under the cold stars. We walked on. We were shocked and confused, without a goal and knowing only death awaited us. But the mountain. We reached its base and found a way inside, deep fissures in the rock, twisting and crawl making. We hoped for air somehow, found water instead. No way back now, Erleth's death awaits behind. So we marched into the mountain, slopes and drops we navigated, beneath coming short and stale. A sudden cavern, a structure, silvery domes on the mountain darkness, in the mountain darkness, a place of forever, inaccessible yet calling to us. We crossed a chasm that was not always there. Science and sacrifice provided thrust and the survival kit a rope. It was enough. On the far side, a hidden switch was perhaps triggered. A bridge of light appeared. We walked across. No need to puncture bottles of precious air. Ahead, a great vault door opening. Welcome? Death? No matter, the wolves had come after us. The air was running out. We fled inside and thought the door sealed behind us. We cracked our helmets as soon as we could. Sweet air, but we were trapped. The wolves beat at the doors and somehow got inside. We found a way deeper in and the door closed behind us. Safe for now, we explored. In the mountain was a warren of rooms of silver and grey, each different, each with fantastic artefacts. Leaning against the wall, a hidden switch was apparently tripped, and suddenly the floor glowed orange. One person lost a fingertip when he touched it. Another hidden switch was tripped, and holographic visions of food appeared as mirages to tantalise the famished group. One gave into temptation and clawed his way into the vision, whereupon it materialised as real meat, real fruit, real drink. Other rooms held null G sleeping berths, areas with mystic columns for no apparent purpose, or fabulous crystal eggs larger than 6 people. In the farthest back room, a huge globe of the world stood and revolved in real time, responding to their touch, and by looking close they could see where they had crashed. They stayed in the rooms, warm and away from the wolves and cold death of the surface for days. They found wondrous devices and played with them. Some were injured. But they found a way to supercharge their suits, all the air they needed, items too, small and large. They made a stockpile. But the wolves were no longer at the door. They were in. The crews fled, grabbing what they could. The stockpile was forgotten, kicked aside. But we took the things we most needed. They fled, gunshots behind them and yells of dismay. We did not look to see what was behind. We almost forgot to close our helmets when the vault door opened. Out we rushed into the crushing darkness. The magic bridge of light was gone. The vault door closed. They began to make a plan, but as they did, the bridge clicked on, to allow the survivors to just walk across the chasm. As they did, the bridge turned red and turned off again just as the last stepped off it. As they sighed relief, the vault door swung open and they left hurriedly. One of the wolves was in pursuit, but he could not cross the chasm. He turned, firing ineffectually. Something dragged him back inside. We did not see what. To the mountain. Oh God, there's more. We walked away from it now, shuddering at what might have been. There was no sign of returning traitors or any other threats. We must leave quickly. The heart of Blatant Lie, her reactor, now crushed and broken and partly exploded, they tore it out. In its place went the things they had found. They wired and fixed and hoped the ship came alive. Desperately heaving itself from the planetary surface, Blatant Lie struggled into orbit. It lurched and shuttered through the system and finally prepared to make a single hop. One jump, bearing the survivors to safety. It was not to be. A battle raged in the system, and as the ship fought, the Blatant Lie hid, hoping its side would win. One torpedo from the fighting never hit a target and streamed on alone until it caught Blatant Lie in its sensors and moved closer, exploding to blank the courier's screens and disable its drives. Without drives, the ship could not maneuver, and no one heard its calls for help. The belligerents left, first one side retreating, then the other pursuing. Left alone, the scout and its heroic crew settled into the vacacious night and died. There you go. That is the poem of the Twilight's Peak.
That's quite fictional.
Yeah, I was going to say, the fact that no one survived, how did that story get out if it was supposed to be factual?
Well, you'd have thought somebody would be making logs as they went around. If they found the Blatant Lie, then they would have recovered those logs.
I suppose. The sensors and everything were disabled from the missile hitting them. It sounds like a crossover where you get to the mountain where they're talking about and it turns into Cthulhu.
Exactly. Okay, so we'll pick up next week, hopefully with everybody back, with you about to be boarded and the consequences of that.
This is very much a flat Earth game, I've decided.
In what way?
That people think the Earth's flat.
Mm-hmm.
And also people think there's an ancient race before us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going off.
I was going to say it's an odd segment of the story, this bit, but it leads to lots of information coming your way quite quickly that leads to the conclusion. You're actually not far off the conclusion of the story.
Well, I really enjoyed tonight because it was a great session for just getting information off people.
Yeah.
Learning about certain factions within the Hunters.
See, because of Babylon 5 more than anything else, I'm leaning towards, is it Jessica's theory, where it's a group of different races?
Yeah.
That's what
a coalition.
That keeps coming to my mind. So that's kind of how I'm thinking at the moment. But I know for a fact it's purely because I'm a big fan of Babylon 5, and that's more or less what happened there.
Goddamn Vorlons.
And all the others.
Yeah. I like my theory better.
That they're all just stupid.
No, it's the human race that created everything and was so advanced at one point where they were genetically altering people, so they're more space worthy. A bit like Khan.
Oh. Well, we will.
We shall find out. Or maybe we won't. Who knows?
This is where we find out that they're not really an Imperial ship, and the pirates, and we're getting taken prisoner. Like the two raiders that were ambushing with I
need to go back and listen to the
train.
stream because I don't think my mic was recording me through most of that because there's an update in OBS and it resets stuff in settings. So annoying.
Oh no.
Because a few times we said that you muted because you seem to be talking.
I was muted. Discord was working fine because that goes on a different thing.
Oh, right, okay.
So you can hear me on Discord, but when I was looking at my recording spikes on OBS, it was like 0. And like I said, there's been an update which has probably reset my settings. It's so annoying. I should always do a sound check beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, when I was using OBS, is that the one that you can have different backgrounds and things on it?
Well, yeah, they all can.
Those something that I used to before each game. I check for updates just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, no, this had an
Was
update
I-
tonight. I cancelled it, but there was an update last week, and of course it resets all these settings.
Yeah.
Because it's just so annoying that way.
Oh, I usually check on Discord for that because it used to reset my settings all the time.
Yeah, well,
But-
Discord's the first thing I go to because if you can't have me in Discord, I'm like, oh, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what it came out like. Last time I didn't talk through the whole thing when the microphone was off. We got the highest viewers. So you never know. You never know.
Maybe that's telling you something.
All the time.
Yeah.
But I rise above it like the mighty falcon. Caw-caw!
Falcons don't make that kind of noise.
They do now. That was very informative, that episode.
Yeah.
It's kind of setting up. So it's kind of setting up the differing viewpoints of the ancients. You know, how different people view them in a different way. It's setting up some recurring people, Vlen, Aish, etc. Jessica.